Well, let's see what happens. So far, we have no dropped frames, which is what I was hoping for. Yep, this seems okay. All right, so welcome to my first stream. This is going to be a test stream, and as the subject mentions there, it's going to be looking at the Mikrotik newsletter that just dropped a couple hours ago. So let's take a look at the newsletter. So, new products that are being announced. So there's a new HAP AXS. This one here has Wi-Fi 6, so people will be happy about that. I have a HAP AC3 myself, so this would be a nice upgrade for that. Also has an SFP plus, or sorry, a 2.5 gig SFP slot on it, which is pretty handy, and can be powered by PoE, which I do use that feature myself. Suggested price, US $79, pretty good deal there. Dual core ARM CPU. So it's an ARM, not an ARM 64, but the ARM CPUs are still plenty decent. The ARM CPU, the ARM 64s are very nice. So, oh, of course, this doesn't scroll perfectly. Oh, close enough. Yeah, so this is just the marketing side of that. Has a USB port, which is pretty handy, especially if you want to run any sort of containers or maybe do the onboard radius support or things like that. You can stick a USB stick in there and do some storage off of that. But already how much of this newsletter is dedicated to this particular product. I mean, it's a really nice product, don't get me wrong. So this is pretty standard. It can be powered by DC or PoE in, and it has a passive PoE out, so you can do a passive PoE pass through. It's pretty handy. I've used this type of feature before to have one radio connected into another radio when running a second cable was a pain, and they were both going to be low enough bandwidth that 1 gig was fine. They're mentioning, of course, that the router OS doesn't have any sort of limitations. Once you get the full version, you have the full version. There is the router license levels, but I have never actually hit any sort of limitation on any of their devices before. I must have either been doing things that were small enough to be allowed by the license levels, or they weren't things that were being licensed at all. Ah, yes, this is rather interesting. The Not LR9G kit. So this is one of their products that is in the LoRa family, LORA. And this is something that I have been interested in myself, although I haven't had an opportunity to actually purchase any hardware or really have a need for it yet. But it's something I'm definitely interested in. So this is a new gateway box for LoRa-based networks. As you can see, it's designed for outdoor use. It's got a connectorized antenna, as well as DC powering options. Can also be powered by PoE. supports basically all the standards you might want. As it mentions here, it can be powered by PoE DC jack or micro USB, including PoE out on Ether 2 for powering other devices. So this one also supports PoE pass-through. Connectorized antenna for LTE GPS and the LoRa interface. Powered by router OS 7. Yeah, this looks pretty interesting. $179, which will let you connect many LoRa-based devices to this. Pretty good price point, 179 US, which is, I guess, like just a little over 200 Canadian, but still that's totally reasonable. Use cases, yeah, this is nice. So hospital asset tracking. So by installing one of these in each storage area, you can detect nearby tags and track the location of them and send updates. Actually having sort of live inventory of what equipment you have in that particular area. Cold chain monitoring, so if you have like a freezer system, this can be connected to a Modbus sensor to monitor the temperature and the humidity values inside of refrigerated containers. This device can convert the Modbus to TCP and forward the data securely using various methods. One of the areas where LoRa gets used often, and one of the use cases I've heard of most often, is agricultural and remote sites. So you can deploy these things to gather soil or weather sensor data in rural fields. Also, industrial automation. Supports DIN rail support, GPIO monitoring, and some other things like that. Very useful use case for that particular type of device. The Mikrotik eSIM connectivity. This I was rather interested in. I thought this was an interesting product or offering that they are offering, an interesting product offering that they have chosen to offer now. Several years ago, when I worked for a Mikrotik distributor, one of the yearly survey questions that we had was asking what our thoughts were on their cellular and their LTE products. And we told them that the price of cellular data is so expensive in Canada that it's not even something that people are looking at all. And so I saw that they had launched this connectivity. It looks really simple to use, built-in eSIM on a whole bunch of their products. You just log into your account and purchase connectivity, and you're able to activate an offline SIM even without needing to have internet access for it. So I went and I looked at the various countries that they are supporting, and unfortunately, I don't see any that are outside of Europe, which, I mean, that's consistent with like the price of data. The price of data in North America is orders of magnitude more expensive than what it is in Europe. For instance, I pay almost $200 Canadian a month for my wife and my own cellular connectivity, which includes, I guess, 190 gigs of data or something like that. But it was the same price when it was like 8 gigs of data. So they got a whole bunch of nice information on their website. I'll leave that for you to go through because I don't know how I will do that on the stream part yet. Talking about more training opportunities and train the trainer. So this is something that's kind of interesting. So I have Mikrotik certifications myself, and they are offered to me through a local trainer. It looks like this particular train, the trainer course, is happening in Riga, Latvia, which is that's new. That's not something that was offered previously, I guess. And then they're talking about the new the Rose disk storage units. I haven't seen any of these particular devices yet, but I am kind of curious about them. That's probably an area that I will be looking at eventually. The ability to host Docker images on a non-server type appliance is extremely interesting to me because not every network has their own VMware cluster or Proxmox cluster or insert name of popular hypervisor choice here. And the ability to run things on a router or multiple routers or router-like devices is just extremely interesting to me. It also makes it quite easy to geo-distribute things. It's always interesting to see where the equipment is being used. And so one of the things that comes up every couple months in the Mikrotik newsletter is some local use cases. One of the ones in the past was the high-speed research network. This one here is talking about the Latvian State Radio and Television Center implemented a quantum secure data transmission solution now available to end users. Interested more in that, there's a link that you can read more about that particular information. And it looks like they were at a conference in Japan. One of the things that I noticed when I was in Japan this year is just how far ahead the networks were from our own. I guess that's like a European thing too. Everybody's so far ahead from North America on the cellular and mobile network side. Yeah, nice stuff there. Talking about stuff that's happening in Indonesia. And a new Mikrotik micro tips and tricks. Kind of like that. That's kind of clever. The eSIM stuff is particularly interesting. I hope that they add North America, but I expect that the pricing will be so out of whack that it just won't work at all for them. Let's see, 22 minutes, 10 minutes, so that was intro. Okay, well, I think I'm going to call this test stream here, and then I'm going to review this test stream and see how this went. Yeah, the Vit stream eventually decided that it was okay. I guess maybe when I changed backgrounds or stopped having the live video background, maybe that made a difference. All right, well, let's call this one here for now. And I have another stream I'm going to do where I'm going to go over the presentation that I did at the Long Con this past weekend, where I talk about Anycast DNS. I might do that later today, or that might end up being tomorrow. We'll see how I feel. Okay, I'm gonna go review this now, so enjoy your day if you're watching.